Hey, everybody. I'm Jason Odell, and hopefully you can see my puffin here up on the screen. Um, and I better put myself on mute so I don't come through on my own side here. It's good to see you all here today. And hey, Lisa, Larry, hey, you ready? It's good to see you all here. I want to talk about a trip that's coming up soon, and it is to Newfoundland. So that's always a cool spot, right? That's a trip that I had organized back in I organized this trip back in October of last year, and basically what happened was I just had someone who couldn't go. So I've got a space to join this tour. It's a really cool tour, so I wanted to talk about it live tonight here on Zoom and on Substack. Hey, Margaret, good to see you. If you have questions for me, you can just type them in the chat. It's all good. Um, Funny stuff. Okay, so this is uh, a a custom photo safari. I've chartered a private photography guide and transportation service for June 14th through 20th this coming summer, which is an interesting time to go to Newfoundland, and you're going to see why in a second. So, on this tour, what are we going to see? We're going to see a lot of stuff. We are going to see the puffins, the seabirds, including a major northern gannet colony that is one of the largest northern gannets colonies in North America. These are seabirds right on the coast. There's just thousands of them there. I'll show some pictures that I got from a photo safari photographer guide. We're also going to photograph the lighthouses, the fishing villages, the boats along the coast. We're going whale watching. We've got booked a Zodiac trip to go look for whales, but also whatever else is there, we might catch flying birds and also icebergs, because in June there can be icebergs up there in this part of the world. Newfoundland, or Newfoundland, I should say, if I'm saying it the right Canadian way, um, that is the far northeast part of Canada. In fact, it's in its own time zone. It's in the Atlantic time zone, so it's an hour ahead of Eastern U.S. time. Okay, so that is where this is at. And let's take a look at some of the stuff. When and where. So, like I said, it's July 14th through 20th, and there's a little bit of a trick with that I'll get to at the end. You're going to have private transportation. All of the accommodations are included. Um, so, 6 nights of lodging. Um, and so you're going to get photography instruction from me as well as Michael Windsor, our guide. He's been doing this. He's a local, so he's been doing this forever. And I'm going to walk you through the itinerary and see uh, what we're going to be doing. So this is, like I said, this is a very exclusive small group. I'm only capable of taking 6 photographers on this trip. I've got 5 and we got a spot open. So day one, the 14th of June is your arrival day. So this is just a check-in day. Now I'm going to get to this at the end because there's a little bit of there can be some a little bit of weirdness with flights getting into St. John's. They usually get in really late at night. So I'm going to talk about that at the end. But we're going to meet for dinner, go over the workshop or the safari, the plan, and see what we do. And then the next morning, we get out early to go out to Cape Spear. Now, Cape Spear is the easternmost spot on in North America. So this is literally the first place that sees sunlight in the entire North American continent. So we're going to go out there to the lighthouse and get that sunrise shot. So we'll have our tripods and our gear set up, our landscape kit. I'll be there to make sure that you've got your settings right, so that you don't do a mistake. And it's always fun that first morning when it's really early. So we're going to do that. There could be whales out there. We don't know. And then we're going to go back in the midday. We're going to go back out at sunset for some golden hour shooting in the St. John's town area. Again, fishing village, that kind of stuff. All of the things that are in that area. You can just do a quick, do a search on Flickr or something for images of St. John's. This is where I found this photo. So beautiful spot for our first day. And then after that night, we're going to hit the road. And so we're going to drive down to a southern point in Newfoundland, Cape St. Mary's. Now, Cape St. Mary's is where there is an ecological reserve. And I'm going to see if I can pull this up on a Google map at the end so you can see where we're going. But we're going to be on the cliffs, and this is where you'll find the northern gannet. This is a seabird. Okay, they breed this time of year. I think the colony has something like 10,000 individuals or something on that order of magnitude. So it's just you can do shots there with a wider lens than you might think of because you can catch the flight shot. But look at this picture right here. You've got the gannet flying over. It's got a piece of seaweed, its nesting material in its beak, and you can just see the sheer numbers of other individuals on this colony. And even in the fog, that's a cool shot. And then we're going to have some stuff to do around the area. So we switch to our landscape kit, our travel photography kit, your short your short zoom lens, like your 24 to 70 maybe, or something like that. And we go to the fishing villages. That's going to be fun. And then we go back again in the evening because then we're going to have that golden hour shooting at Cape St. Mary's. That's going to be really, really cool. So that's a full day on our third day of the safari. Here's a shot from Michael, one of his gannet shots, and he uses a Canon with a 100 to 500 millimeter lens most of the time, so you get an idea of the kind of kit you might want to bring. You don't need the huge telephoto lens. You want something that's hand holdable, but we'll talk about that at the end if you got questions about that. Yes, Newfoundland rhymes with understand. Thank you, John. You are absolutely right. I am still just a stupid American, as we say. Okay. From Cape St. Mary, we go up north to Bonavista. Bonavista is another fishing village area, but here before we go, we'll hit that seabird colony again for those morning shots in the best light. Travel during the middle of the day. We've got the coastline, landscapes, landmarks, architecture, and of course the puffin colony at Elliston, which is a huge puffin colony, and who doesn't love a puffin? But Bonavista, we may see icebergs here. There's landscape shots, rugged coast. You can set up for long exposure seascapes. I'll be teaching you how to use a neutral density filter with your tripod to do multi-second exposures and get some cool wave action if conditions permit. So we'll get up there, we'll hit the puffin colony, and then we're going to go whale watching. I've got more pictures. So next slide is going to have some puffin pictures, I promise. But then we're also, so in the morning, we'll have been there in the evening, the night before. The morning, we'll go out for the puffins on the cliffs, and you can get right up next to them in some cases. There's some pretty cool video of that. And then we're going to get a special trip in a Zodiac. So we're going to go out in the Zodiac, out in the ocean, and look for the humpback whales because they'll be coming in this time. So the whales will be coming in. We'll also look for icebergs. This is super cool. So we can do photography from the boat. And for this, again, you're going to want something like 70 to 300, 100 to 400 kind of telephoto zoom lens because you'll be in a Zodiac and you don't want to have to really change gears. Although sometimes the whales come right up to the boat, so you just never know. So that's going to be really cool. That's our fifth day. And here's some of the shots that you can get from these areas. You can just imagine that iceberg being on that Zodiac and seeing this iceberg out there. I mean, to me, that is just incredible because, unless you're going to Greenland or say Antarctica, you're probably not going to see stuff like this. So this is an opportunity to see some icebergs in North America, where you might otherwise not have those opportunities. And then of course the puffins. Who doesn't love the puffins? They're going to be there. It's their breeding season, so they will be foraging, nesting, doing all their puffin things, coming in to land. And I will, of course, be there to teach you and help you with your camera settings so that you get the right settings for birds in flight. How do you set your shutter speed? What kind of ISO settings should what exposure mode do you use? I'm there to be your photography leader and to make sure you come home with the shots. Okay. So we'll have that second opportunity to go out there and shoot the puffin colony. And then our last day, this is Friday, the 19th, we will continue it, our way back to St. John's, but we'll stop along the way to shoot the fishing villages and anything landscape wise that comes across. We'll probably still shoot the puffins in the morning just because it's another opportunity to get those puffins because you got to get those shots. You never know. But this is an example of what I was talking about. Michael took this amazing landscape. This is a long exposure. Look at that iceberg out there. You got the rugged coastline. Super cool. Just amazing stuff. So an incredible opportunity for landscape travel, uh, villages, bird photography. It's got a little bit of everything on this trip, and we're going to be right there. And my job is to make sure that you're in the position to succeed and come back with great, great photos. So here's some more pictures just so you get the idea. So we got the landscape stuff, the sunrises, the sunset, the gannet at golden hour, blue hour with the fishing villages and the crab pots. Just you can make, think about the photo book that you can make from this trip, from going a week to Canada, and getting shots like this. This is not one of the places that most people go, and this would be the kind of thing that would look fabulous on your coffee table if you were to have this printed. But even if you didn't print it, it'd make a heck of a slideshow. So who should go on this one? Okay. It's open to photographers of all levels. Now, I say that you should be familiar with how to use your camera. You shouldn't be, you should know the basics of exposure. You should know how to change the autofocus modes on your camera. Okay. Because a lot of time things are moving really fast. This is not the kind of event where you want to have to read your camera manual because you just took the camera out of the box. So I would say pretty much any level, but intermediate to advanced photographers are going to have the best opportunity. But I'm there to teach you, so I can help with this. The activity level, I call this moderate. There will be some hiking on cliffs. There's not going to be a lot of long distance walking. We're going to be, right near things most of the time. We've got private transportation, to get us to the spots, but you're going to be on that Zodiac. So you've got to be able to carry your camera, moderate distances, uneven terrain, but we're not going on any crazy 20-mile hikes carrying full packs and, do that kind of stuff and camping overnight. So it's a moderate kind of activity level. You should be comfortable carrying your stuff and being relatively mobile. That's pretty much the only requirement that I have for that. What are you going to learn? Well, you're going to learn landscape photography, including my techniques for long exposure photography. And don't forget, I have a class on long exposure photography coming up on Saturday afternoon. So you can watch that here live on Substack. And if you're a subscriber, so you can see that. Of course, you're going to get the bird photography uh, help with my settings for camera settings. If we have time, we may do a little post-processing like in the late afternoons or the evenings, but for the most part, we're going to be just out there shooting most of the time on this tour. Of course, travel photography stuff. So how do you compose those little fishing village scenes to get shots with impact that fill in your photo gallery or your photo book that you're going to want to make after you come home on this trip? So really, really diverse set of topics for a week's trip. Okay. Oh, great. Thanks for the comment, John. I've been to Newfoundland 5 times and still want to go back. Elliston puffin shooting is great. Well, Thank you. I appreciate the endorsement because it did look awesome. It certainly does. Okay, what should you bring? Okay, so this is again, will I be bringing my cell phone? Yes, I will. You could actually do a lot of photography there with a cell phone, but to get the best shots, especially the birds, you're going to want to have DSLR or a mirrorless interchangeable lens camera, something that you can put on a big telephoto lens and then change out to a wide angle lens. Um, the standard zoom is going to cover a lot of territory, 24 to 70, 24 to 120, 24 to 105, something like that. That's going to be a great landscape lens. And your kit's going to vary depending on what you actually have. So I'm just going to give suggestions. So a great lens for this trip would be, say, a 100 to 400 millimeter zoom, which Nikon has. I'm not sure if Sony has but there's a lot of similar ones. Similarly, Canon has a 100 to 500. That would be great. 500 gets you close to the birds. The wide angle lens, like a 16 to 35, you can bring that because that's going to be for your sunrise shots and some of the scenery in the fishing villages. Maybe you've got a boat, you want to get really close to that, get a dramatic sky or wide shot for that. Okay. You will want to bring your tripod because if you want to do a long exposure of a couple of seconds, maybe more, tripod is key. Polarizing filter, always put that in the bag. And then if you want to do those long exposures, I'm going to recommend you bring a solid neutral density filter. Of course, I'll give you suggestions on which one to have. I usually bring a 10 or a 15 stop ND filter. Again, tune in on Saturday for my stretching time long exposure class, and you will learn what I'm talking about. So that's the basic kit. You're going to want to be able to pack it and bring this on an airplane, obviously, because you've got to get to Newfoundland. Now, what's included with this safari? 6 nights of lodging. So the accommodation starting from Sunday through Friday night. All of our transportation via the private vehicle, our driver, and our guide, who is a photographer. He knows the spots, he knows where to go. We're going to be in position to succeed. Um, the only thing we don't know about is the weather, and that's nature for you. Okay. All of the tours are included. The Zodiac tour is included in the pricing. You get my field instruction. I will do a pre-workshop orientation with all of our participants over Zoom so that you can ask me more questions about what to bring, um, whatever you want to do. And then, of course, I will be helping you with image review and critique during and after the safari. Now, what's not included, of course, is getting there, meals, and then getting between the airport and the hotel. So that's just the stuff that's standard disclaimer not included. What about the pricing? The price is listed as such. I am discounting it if you book by March 13th. Like I said, this is an emergency last second spot. The workshop is going to close very soon. So this is a very limited time offer. As a bonus incentive, I will not only knock the price down a little bit, but I will include an extra night on the 13th of June for arriving in St. John's. Now, what do you mean? Well, it turns out that when you fly to St. John's, especially for people like me coming from parts west of the Mississippi, the flights get into St. John's extremely late. That's partly due to the schedule, but also due to the time zones because we're going, an hour ahead of East Coast Eastern time. So a lot of these flights get in 11:30, 12:30 in the morning, 1 a.m. So you book this, I will include that extra night complimentary so that you can just go there when you arrive, get to the hotel, crash out in your room, and we don't do anything until meet for dinner on the evening of the 14th. Now, it's in Canada. I'm in the US. You do need to bring your passport if you're not a Canadian citizen. A passport is required for flying into Canada, I believe. I'm not sure if you can use a passport card, but don't mess around with it. Bring your passport. So that is where we're at. And let me stop this. I want to just see if I can bring up some stuff to share with the some videos from Michael's website on his Instagram page. So let me do this. Share this. So Michael, who's our guide, he has a company that he does things in Newfoundland, and this is one of the videos that he produced to give you an idea of the kinds of stuff that you'll do on this photo safari. So there's that. Some of his puffin shots may look familiar, some more icebergs, the kinds of photos that you can expect to get on a safari like this. And here's that Zodiac trip. Looking for the whales. All right. That's awesome. So this could be something that, if that's interesting to you, hopefully you can think about it. I know this is sort of a last minute thing. It just got dumped on me right at the last second. That's life. It happens. But if you're looking for an amazing photo safari with a small group, meeting the people on these tours usually is one of the best parts of them. You get to meet some really great photography enthusiasts. So that's the biggest benefit of this trip. If anybody has over on Substack, if you guys have questions for me, I'm gonna sort of check in on the chat and see how that is going. So if there's, I'm just looking to see if there's any questions there. It's good to see you all here. So I'll just remind everyone that if you want to go on this trip, I've got a very tight window for booking. If you want to go, contact me because I'm not going to use my ticketing system because that would charge you a ticketing fee. I don't want to do that. So we can just make it work through. Okay. Plan on flying out Saturday, June 13th for a late night arrival. I will add in that extra night for you. We'll stay and we'll fly home on Saturday, June 20th. There's no shooting that day. It's just go to the airport. So whatever time you want to book your flights. So if there's any questions, hit me up. I don't see anything right now in the chat, but I've seen a lot of positive comments about going to Newfoundland. Um, I'm looking forward to it. So what do you think? It's an opportunity to visit our friends north of the border, which I'm very excited to do. I haven't been to Canada in a while. I'm looking forward to being there and enjoying this unique landscape and all the wildlife that's up there. So yeah, that's what I got. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to me. My Substack is the Photographer's Perspective. You can hit that subscribe button up there. I don't know where that is. It's probably on the other side. But anyway, thanks for tuning in tonight on the last second like this. I really appreciate it. And I will see you out there online. Take care.